What is up, everybody? I'm Fran Mirabella here with Per Schneider, and man, HD Zelda right here in front of us finally, right, Per?
The moment we've been waiting for, yeah. They
Seriously.
didn't show us a lot, but they are showing us some stuff that's getting us really excited already.
Yeah, it is a relatively fast-moving trailer. In fact, we're going to scrub back after we just get this quick peek at the insanity that we're kind of seeing before us. So
yeah.
let's move back to kind of the opening frame. You actually had Anuma sitting here kind of telling you how this is different. Do you want to recap that?
Yeah,
real quick,
it's first of all, obviously the art style is different, and Nintendo said when they showed us the kind of the concept trailer ages ago, they said this may not be what the game looks like, and obviously it doesn't, right? We got an art style that is more like an anime, like it looks like a cross between Skyward Sword and Ico or Shadow of the Colossus, some of those great games out of Japan.
Yeah.
The second thing is that he says it's non-linear. It's actually an open world, and kind of going back to the original concept of The Legend of Zelda from the NES, that you can get yourself in trouble. You know, you can be in a peaceful meadow and then something bad happens and there'll be a powerful enemy attacking you.
Yeah, I thought that was really interesting. You know, in the presentation they opened up, we actually have it here. You know, they're talking about the previous Zeldas, and what was striking to me was, you know, they're like, remember in the old Zelda, you just went like tile to tile. You went left to right, up and down. As they progressed, you know, you get to Wind Waker, which they kind of solved for some of this.
Well, they had to fake an open world, right? It's still in quadrants. It's still very much dungeon-based, and they have all these limitations to not let you go wherever you want in the beginning, right?
Yep.
And that's actually a departure from the original NES game.
That's right. And what, for me, when you get to this, and he snaps his fingers and says, "Let's look at how its convention has changed."
Yep.
What he really was building to is that you couldn't go wherever you wanted and break through these sections, which is something he actually mentioned. Now you can. They're basically saying this is a giant open world. We're kind of using the word Skyrim a little bit. But technically, it's kind of like the original Zelda.
Yeah, and it's probably not like Skyrim, right? Skyrim is a very different game. The combat feels more like an RPG. It's more disconnected. You're not in charge of an action adventure, and this is most definitely going to be still an action adventure, right? Maybe it has some stats in it, but we don't know. But what you're getting now is you're getting this giant vista and the promise that what you see in the background is what you can go to.
Yeah.
And the old games faked that, right? You saw Death Mountain in the distance in Ocarina of Time. As you get closer, it kind of loaded in a different area. And speaking of Death Mountain, like if you look way in the back at the horizon, you can see what looks like a volcano.
Yeah,
and so
way
maybe,
in the back, right.
you know, maybe that's Death Mountain, or maybe it's a volcano in this new world.
Yeah, I mean, we think it's probably something like Death Mountain. We'll see. But, the fact that you can just ride out to that and look at all these hills, it really is amazing the amount of detail you're seeing. And that, for me, is the first thing that stuck out is like, look, this doesn't necessarily look like the most high-resolution HD game that I've ever seen. That being said, it's gorgeous looking. They're really good at nailing their styles. And look at, I think that's the thing to focus on in this trailer, the blades of grass. There's flowers in the grass that are moving. The trees are shaking around.
Yeah.
Everything has a movement and an organic kind of feel to it. Like there's a little like mist in the background. We were saying back by the left.
There's a cottage and mist coming up. Maybe there's a waterfall or a river below that's producing that mist, right?
Yeah, and if you look far enough in the background, way in the back, it's like almost in the center of the screen. It looks like there's a big waterfall on that mountain in back.
There's water. You can see flowers in the front. You
and
can
little
see
butterflies
the wind.
and bugs.
Yep, you can see the wind moving, the foliage everywhere. But you also see farmers. Did you see that? Like in the background, you have a couple of farmers on the left and on the right with goats.
Yeah, watch them as this creature comes through. You see birds that are going to all of a sudden come in the background. Oh, wait, did we miss that there?
Yeah. A little bit before that.
See them? It's we're looking at a smaller screen, but you just see the amount of detail they're putting into this, and that is really exciting to see.
You can also see when this creature, which is kind of a mix between an Octorok and a Peahat and a Beamos statue, right? Like it fires laser beams, like those old turrets in the games. This mechanical, organic thing come in. It scares the other people away. You can see the goats running away, and the farmers splitting,
and the grass is actually being raised, and it's lighting on fire, and so they come barreling around this corner, and he's just firing these beams at him, crashes into the wall. So cool.
You can see the effects look really good, just the smoke clouds and the the glow. Yeah. The color scheme is much stronger than in Skyward Sword, bold. So it's similar, but it's now HD and it looks much better. You saw some of the kind of the rock form, the statues that really look like old Hylian kind of statues from Twilight Princess in those games.
Yep. And then this is really our first close look at the new hero.
Yep.
which we think's Link. And
we
we'll
think
talk
it's
about
Link.
It's sort of, I mean, it's always Link, right?
You can see his outfit. He's riding on what we think is Epona, right? Like it could be a new
looks
horse, it
more-
could be a new Link. We don't know, but it the horse has the white on
Hooves,
the legs and on the front. Sorry, I don't know my horse
That's okay.
terminology.
We'll get into the horsery
but you also see the shield, right? It's a new design, but it looks kind of like the bandit shield in Skyward Sword, right?
You
with
always
the
start
ring
with
around
a
it.
shield, so I think it's just that.
And the outfit, kind of like a throwback to Twilight Princess, the kind of farmer's outfit, or a little bit like the Skyward Sword tunic. Wind Waker, he had a blue outfit in the beginning. Remember that? And like you can see kind of patterns and a design reminiscent of all those designs.
So this is the big reveal. Peels it off. We tried to look up if this is some Hylian flag. So if you guys know what it is, please leave that in the comments. Tweet at us. Pear and
it
friend.
could be. I mean, a lot of the designs kind of tie in with the game's theme. Like you'll see a bird, like like Skyloft, the bird design. You sometimes see something that looks like a scorpion. This one, we don't know what it is, but it's got these little, maybe horns or edges or something.
Yeah, we thought maybe horns.
legs.
Maybe more like a tree. I mean, it's really a little too early to say. But if you guys have ideas, let us know. Ponytail. And so... Actually, a couple of them. And so there's some feedback that as you see the close-up of Link, who we think the hero is, let's take a quick look.
This looks like a Miyazaki anime movie.
Goodness.
Look at this.
This
looks like Japanese anime.
So, as I was saying, some feedback, some people, that's a girl, that's a big reveal.
Yeah.
I don't think so. I think this is just the style.
And it wouldn't be unprecedented, right? Yeah. Sheik, spoilers from like 900 years ago, but, Sheik is Zelda, and she dressed up as a boy before. Could this be Zelda? I don't think so. It's
just a style.
Yeah.
And, the face is a little more elongated. There's a lot of flowing hair. But, I mean, I don't think so. So I don't think we need to dwell on it. To me,
it would be awesome, though, if it was The Legend of Zelda, literally.
That would be really interesting. I mean, it would be an interesting twist.
No, it's Link.
But I think it's still Link.
Yep.
But let's go back just a few here, because there's a lot that happens in this short span of time. So after we see this, they end up at this little pond down here at the dock. Again, amazing detail. You can even see the water as you watch through this. It sparkles, and in the background you'll see it even. There's waves of it that are coming up as the creature's writhing in it.
But
what I wanted to point out here is these arrows. And you may have noticed, Master Sword.
No sword.
Not a sword. Not even a wooden sword. Wooden shield. But as you go through here, you see something happen. Pulls off this cloak. Reveals, you already have the bow and everything there, but it already in our hero's hand, let's just call it Link because it's going to be confusing. In Link's hand, it's got 2 arrows, and they're sizzling at the end.
Yep, bottle rockets.
Yeah, and you'll actually see it happens really fast in the trailer. Fires off 1.
Boom.
And then it's going to be another one right away. And then actually there's a third one, which I think it just does the cut.
Yep.
Actually, it was right in there. Maybe it was just the 2.
Yep.
I thought there was 3.
No.
In any event, now what you see, pulling out the big arrow.
Yeah.
And I think this is the thing to discuss. So
he's like Gandalf in the Lord of the Rings movie. He's got
leaps
all these
off
fireworks on the back.
Do you think that would be a move that you'd see in the game with the sort of...
I think
really agile, needing to get up off with your bow in the air.
Maybe.
I think so.
I mean, this looks. It's obviously a cutscene, right? This looks more like a story sequence that really shows off the new what I think is probably going to be the center point of the game, the bow and arrow.
Yeah. And so that's the thing to discuss. Leaps up off of this. Really cool sound effects. What I really love here is a little bit Final Fantasy to me, but just sort of a cool gun gadget arrow mashup.
Yeah.
Flicks open this mechanism and pulls this little trigger sort of, and it flips out the end of the arrow, which basically is almost like a sword at this point, or a spear, but just sort of an amazing arrow. I think what you're going to see, like we see in a lot of games, right, is this will become a multi-tool type arrow, right?
Yeah, and that's the question, right? Will this game take the route of a Skyward Sword, where you can slightly upgrade your shield and your bow and arrow, or is it more involved that you can actually have different types of that the stats actually fundamentally change, and that there's a huge amount of arts like a big variety of arrows in the game? I think it's still more rooted in the action-adventure realm, in that there's a finite amount of content, more manageable.
But I am sort of thinking that with the world, being as big as it is and open, I can sort of imagine going out into this just open world, and it's going to have sort of like we first experienced in 3D in Ocarina of Time, where you've just got these creatures out there, and you got to leap off, get into a battle really fast, get back on your horse. And I think the arrows are going to play a big part because the world's going to be big.
Yeah.
That's just the guess that arrows will play a bigger part because of how much you're traveling. You
Honestly,
need projectiles.
There's so much we don't know from looking at this trailer, right? Like, Aonuma says he's going to get rid of a bunch of Zelda conventions, but keeping the one where a powerful enemy attacks you. And like, I've never seen something like this in a Zelda game before, where a giant boss like that appears out in the peaceful landscape, right? Like, you had the flying pea hat enemies in Ocarina of Time. You have that kind of stuff, but not like this.
Right. You saw a little bit in Skyward Sword, some of that, but yeah, I think that's the theme they're going for.
Yeah.
And he even says it like this.
It's almost like a moment like in Ocarina of Time where the dark cloud stuff flies out of the well in Kakariko Village.
Yeah.
Like this kind of like everything seems okay, and then suddenly it erupts and you're in the middle of a boss battle all of a sudden. So really dig that. But the question now is, will they still have the item gates, right, where you need a hook shot to open up a new area, or is he serious that you can go anywhere and into any dungeon whenever you want to?
That was one thing they already commented on, actually, is that because it's an open world, part of the fun, this Jose Otero, who's reporting on this and talked to them already, has said that's a big theme. You're going to get to areas that you need to sort of get through the puzzle and unlock. I mean, that's classic Nintendo adventure, which is what I love about the games.
Yeah.
I don't just want to go everywhere. I want to get to a giant ice wall and figure out what that means for me.
And Link Between Worlds kind of played with that concept, right? You can rent items at different times. I thought my sense of discovery was lessened a little bit because of that. I love finding this treasure box and getting this amazing item and then trying it out. But it did open up the world more to kind of let you play it the way you wanted to. Like, yes, you could rent or buy an overpowered item and get through it more easily, or you can really challenge yourself too. So we'll see.
So, needless to say, we are super excited about this. It looks like, Perry, you're pointing again at this.
No,
Did
it's
you
just
something else?
No, the design is just really cool.
Yeah,
I
mean, you could just dwell on this final piece for a while. Like, I do love... again, it not being the most HD thing in the world, but the art style is so cool, and there's a lot of emotion in his face, and the animation detail is awesome.
And that was one of the reasons for the switch from the more traditional style to Wind Waker, was that Nintendo wanted to really get the emotion in the eyes, and so kind of came up with this cartoon character. Now that we're seeing everything in HD visuals, years later, you can see how they pull this off with this anime look, and it just looks spectacular.
And it is understating all the lighting that they're doing here, all the particles. That's what I love, that they are maximizing the power of the system for, and there's always trade-offs, but I think they've made the right choices. The physical animation and just the general look, and you can even see it right as clouds pass by. It's the lighting's changing, and I'm looking forward to hopefully seeing like Ocarina of Time, like a day and night cycle kind of thing too. Could be really interesting to see.
This landscape would be amazing.
It would be incredible. Remember when you watched the sunrise in Ocarina of Time? I would gladly do that all over again.
The only downside to all of this is, that's a lot of work to finish, right? If you just look at the trees in the background and everything, they did a really nice job. I mean, look at the foliage, considering, the Wii U is really flexing its power there, but that's going to take a long time to finish this game and really get it to run nicely in all the areas when the vistas are this huge.
That's my hope. I hope that this holds up. So we should probably cut this off. You don't have any final notes, right, Per?
No.
Well,
I want it.
Fantastic. Thanks everyone for joining us. As always, get all your trailer analysis, everything Zelda, everything E3 and IGN. Here at IGN, on our app, on our mobile app, YouTube channel, you name it, we're there. Come find us. Thanks, Per.
Goodbye.
Bye.